No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning. Welcome to the morning dump. This is the Jose. I fucked that all up. I got too many damn brands going on. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the morning dump. I think it might also be a underclass podcast episode today too. We're waiting for Ozzy, or not Ozzy, I just completely was thinking. I looked over and I saw one of my cats, and I just thought of one of my cats' name because I saw him fucking with something. I just saw my kid's mouth guard on the floor that my wife told him to throw away like 2 days ago that he's playing around with on the floor. So, I'll go pick that up here shortly. I guess she didn't throw it away like what she was told. But anyways, yeah, Austin might be joining us here shortly. So, yeah, we'll have Austin here shortly, so maybe this will be underclass production as well today. But either way, I don't think it'll end up on his Rumble, but maybe it'll be on everything else. So it's on his YouTube, on his on my Rumble, on both of our Twitters. Here you can hear that asshole crying even as he's playing with the fucking mouth guard. He just likes to say hi for some fucking reason. But yeah, what's up, guys? It is the 13th of March. It's a beautiful morning. We have quite a few things to go through with you guys today. Might not even get through all of it, considering Austin's should be joining us here shortly. So, but real quick, let's take a second to remind you guys how the bills are paid around here. This is a shave company here, baby. This is a shave podcast, all right? I take all my orders from Nadeau and I say, hey, what's the narrative today? What can we do to advance the small shave narrative? And we come together and we conspire. And yeah, today as part of that, I'm telling you about it again today. I'm remind you guys that Nadeau Shave Co. is the way to go. This is superior to the typical shaving product in just about every way. I mean, look at that thing. It's a single blade razor. It's a safety razor as well. So it's kind of the same shtick, but only one blade on both sides. So you're only getting one blade going across your face for each stroke. Gives you a smoother shave. I mean, it's like baby smooth, I'm telling you. And on top of that, it gets better for your face because you're only running one blade over your face as opposed to the 3, 4, 5, however many fucking ridiculous ones they have now. They're also super expensive, the multi-blade cartridges. These ones are not. These are like $75 to shave for the entire year. And that gets you the razor too after that. And then you're just re-upping with razors. So, I mean, you compare that to what, like 30 plus for each replacement pack for the multi-blades. I mean, it adds up. And then also on top of this, from a company that doesn't hate your guts, this company was literally born out of refusing the COVID mandate. The old Nadeau got the choice between getting the poke or getting out of the military. He got out of the military and started Nadeau Shave Co. That's why we're here now, and why he's supporting this show, because we support his values as well. And so, yeah, support someone who supports your values, doesn't hate your guts, gives you a cheaper and better product. And on top of all of that, as if that wasn't enough, you can get 10% off if you use Jose at checkout. All right, let's go ahead and get in the chat, talk to you guys. What the fuck is a dental dam, says JMS. Okay. Jose looks like a Justin. Oh, yeah, you guys are trying to figure out my real name. Okay. Your cat has a mouth guard? No, my kid who plays soccer. Her soccer season just recently ended. My wife was like, throw away your mouth guard because she's gross, and that kid just leaves her mouth guard laying around. We're like, dude, that's disgusting. And yeah, she just left it laying around. I guess the cat got to it. Oh, sorry guys, if you heard that, I need to turn the notifications off of my phone. I am peak professionalism today. You would think I hadn't been doing this for well over half 100 episodes or whatever. But all right, let's go ahead and let's get into some. Let's see if we can knock out some of these stories before Austin gets here, particularly ones we don't really need Austin for here for those ones anyways. So let's go and get. But just to say hi real quick, I see Joey Poopbag, I see JMS, I see Two Zionists, One Cup, Subliminal Messenger, P. Garrett, Lance Ripa, JMS, Fire Pixie, Doctori 420, Arcane Arsenals, Rise to Liberty, all the usuals. Hey, if any of you guys are new, or if you guys are new here, if you guys are just popping in after watching me and Austin's tinfoil hat appearance, let us know in the chat. See King David as well saying, what's up, King David. But yeah, let us know if you're new here. We'll give you a nice little hi. How are you? Jack Burton's joining the chat. But let's get into some actual content. And for those, if this is your first time popping in, just kind of the shtick. It's real raw reactions, I guess is the way you could look at it. But it's more like we go through articles, old stories, new stories. It's very much like it's kind of current event-ish, but like we'll take time to like dig into old stuff too. So like I had on here that I probably won't get into today, but I was gonna start reading the old Hoffman Yiki article. So, but I just kind of give you an idea of what this show is. It also is very much dictated by you guys. So if you guys tag me, follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. Also, you can follow Austin. I think he's like Theater Thug or something. But I think it's like Theater Thug. I forget. He needs to get it better at. It's not great for branding. But either way, you can follow both of us on Twitter, tag us and stuff. And when you tag us, it's kind of us going, oh, okay, this is possible content. We're pretty responsive. I probably well over 80% of you guys' stuff. If you tag me and it's something that we make sense to cover in the show, I cover it. So you guys are my eyes and ears out there in the world, kind of interesting stories. So if this is your first taste of that, then welcome. I see Pete Garrett saying that he saw us on Tinfoil Hat the time before this last one. That was the first time you saw it crushed. Are you saying we crushed in the last one or this one? Because I think this one killed. Although these were different beasts. The first one, the last one, actually it wasn't the first one. Me and Austin have both done solo episodes on Tinfoil Hat. We've both done our own solo episode, and we've done 2 episodes together. The first episode was like a month ago or so ago, and we were scheduled for this current one already, and he just wanted to do like a last minute episode. So that one was just thrown together last minute, far more current events, whereas this one was like we had already had like a theme, and so we like had notes, everything, like we planned for like a motherfucker. So very different episodes, but both very very enjoyable in my opinion. So I'm glad you enjoy it. So someone says, I want to start an education program in Iran about the topics you cover here, something like the real history or hidden history. We need more education on these topics. Yeah, I do need to find a better way to kind of like summate what it is exactly we cover on the show. It's a lot of current events, but it's more like in the things in the realm of parapolitics, but we'll also have no problem going back. If anything, it's not at all. It's super duper duper common for us to dig into some old conspiracy and go into the ins and outs of it. Because, let's be real. Those things, play into things of today. I mean, we just the other day, Austin interviewed William Ramsey, and they were talking about, what was it? The catcher in their eye. And that applies to so much. Like, even today, like Mangione. I mean, where Mangione, I believe, was found or not found. One of his possessions was like something very significant to the book. Just anyways, point being is, yeah. Anyways, let's keep moving. I see Theater Thug, seriously, from Arcane Arsenals. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, hey man, he was just I don't think when he made his Twitter, he probably was thinking far ahead about like, probably branding for a podcast show, if I had to guess. So, but he does have the podcast one. I think it's like an underclass podcast at. So, yeah, I would assume the first one he probably just wasn't thinking, because, yeah, you wouldn't go with that branding. But, all right, enough of that. Let's get into some actual contents. How recent is the new one, James? It just like literally just dropped like yesterday. So, what is today? Today's yeah, it was literally last night, I believe it dropped. So, because it was on It was on Tower Gang when I found out it dropped already. So no, wait, no. It was on Already Dead when I found it already dropped. So it was Tuesday it dropped. So all right. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into some real ass content with some real ass dudes or dude, I guess. Let me see. All right, just to remind you guys that I pull a lot of these, especially at the beginning. I usually kind of do like an anti-war roundup. And I go to antiwar.com. I just like to remind you guys, this is a great resource. You go to, it kind of gives you the, kind of the best stories of the day, all kind of neatly put together. Bigger, text for those are probably going to be more meaningful. And and there's tons of stories, tons of different, places it pulls from. So it's not, obviously they write their own stories, but a lot of this is pulled from other places as well. So highly recommend that. They're also working on their fundraising drive right now. So if you are able to support them, that is definitely one of those causes that is well worth it. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into actual stories of theirs. There's a couple that, we don't really have any on like the big fronts right now, but there were a couple I wanted to go into that I just felt like kind of show you the game that goes on behind the scenes and kind of the real diplomacy, the real bureaucracy. And I figured that these two stories were kind of unique ones that came out today that kind of play on that. So this is from Responsible Statecraft. This is about Dan Davis, who is a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, which from my recollection of the story, I'll just give you the quick of it, and we'll probably read it because it's not long either. But essentially, this guy, Dan Davis, I believe he was going to be the assistant for Tulsi, which is what the intelligence director or director of intelligence, DNI, director of national intelligence, DNI. So he was going to be like the deputy DNI or something like that, the DNI or something like that. And it looks like, they found some stuff he said about the Jays, and that made it go the other way. But it was like true things, obviously, as it tends to be. But let's go ahead and read this. The articles, Mr. Trump, you would have been lucky to have Dan Davis on your team. It's from Kelly Bioker Vallejos. Earlier today, the Jewish Insider magazine ran a story saying that the White House tapped retired Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis for Deputy Director of National Intelligence, working under the newly confirmed DNI Tulsi Gabbard. It was a hit piece by a pro-Israel platform that primarily focused on Davis's critical views, published only in articles on his popular podcast on Gaza and Iran. Within hours, he was informed there would be no job. Responsible Statecraft has confirmed. Investigative journalist Laura Loomer celebrated. We are sure neoconservative radio jock Mark Levin, who helped spread the insider story to his 4.9 million followers on Wednesday, celebrated. We should not. Trump should not. Danny is a friend whose astute, informed military analysis has disgraced these pages over the last 4 years, or has graced these pages. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him countless times since 2009. When on active duty, he sent a report to Congress and published an article excoriating the Afghanistan war generals, including the much vaunted Stanley McChrystal, for essentially lying to the American people. In 2009, he had just returned from an inspection tour of the country and was pretty much shocked when what he saw there didn't line up with what the military was telling Congress and the media. I did not need to witness dramatic improvements to be reassured, but merely hoped to see evidence of positive trends, to see companies or battalions produce even minimal but sustainable progress. Instead, I witnessed the absence of success on virtually every level. From his explosive Armed Forces Journal article, which is well worth reading today. When it comes to deciding what matters are worth plunging our nation into war and which are not, senior leaders owe it to the nation and to the uniformed members to be candid, graphically if necessary, in telling them what's at stake and how expensive potential success is likely to be. U.S. citizens and their elected representatives can decide if the risk to blood and treasure is worth it. That is the very essence of civilian control of the military. The American people deserve better than what they've gotten from their senior uniformed leaders over the last number of years. Simply telling the truth would be a good start. Today, more than 20 years ago, everything he said about the war had been borne out. The truth is out there, and our military and civilian leadership tried to keep it from us until they couldn't. It may be obvious, but this is exactly what Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and DNI Gabbard said they wanted to bring to the table. A refreshing, dramatic shift from the status quo, which had become sclerotic, secretive, and punishing of dissent. Gabbard herself is an Iraq war veteran who risked her career All right, I'm going to scroll through this. I'm trying to see. I'm more or less just, this is obviously like a puff piece for him. Really what I want to see is the things he said. So I guess that's not in this article. I saw this elsewhere where they kind of went into things he said. But essentially he said a bunch of true things. Let's look at the story, the hit piece on him. This is the anti-Israel commentator tapped as a deputy DNI. This was the insider thing. This is a guy, kind of looks like a jovial fella. Once again, actually remind me that make sure I'm actually getting this. Let me know that you guys are seeing this, because once again, just remind you, fucking StreamYard's been a goofball lately. So all right, let's get back to this. So let me see. So they're saying 3 sources of knowledge of selection told Jewish Insider that this guy's been tapped. He's also lambasted U.S. support for the war in Gaza as a moral and strategic mistake. He has opposed military action to destroy Iran's nuclear program and suggested that it's only U.S. and Israeli policy and actions that are pushing Iran toward pursuing a nuclear weapon. Whoa, you already talked me into him. Slow down. The irony here is obviously this is an article being like, this guy is bad. Let me see. As of recently as January 12, he called the U.S. support for the war in Gaza a mistake. He said, on a practical level, we give away enormous leverage and credibility globally to hold anyone accountable for acts of wanton violence, because we not merely turn a blind eye to it, we cheer it on and supply the means to do more, which is such a badass fucking, which is a dope fucking quote. That's a good quote. That's really good. It says, on a moral level, it's a stain on our character as a nation. It's a culture that will not soon go away. He's also suggested Israel's pursuing ethnic cleansing. He's called Gaza a prison. Oh man. No. I mean, damn it. We got cock blocked by one of those stupid. All right, whatever. We got to the crux of the thing. What an annoying way to paywall. What an annoying way to paywall. I was already like pretty deep into that fucker. All right, because I guess that's our way of saying we're on to the next story, because whatever. Yeah, you guys get the idea, though. He said critical things to Israel, and then Israel said, no way, no how will we have him running our country, the United States of America. And he didn't. That's how this game is played. So surprise. Just kidding. I'm not, obviously. All right, let's roll through the chat, see what you goofy fellas have to say. Let me see. Episode is a fire. Is fire. A little ADHD, but fire. Yeah, we saw a little complaints about that, which is fair. I mean, we were weaving a lot together, and honestly, I didn't realize how long, he was going to give us. So like we were just kind of trying to get boom, and try to like support every point with some sort of like, here's a point or two that supports it, and then move on. Like we weren't focusing too much on like hedging any specific point with in ridiculous amount. It's kind of like, hey, every little connection from one thing, Gladio node to another, we would try to support a little bit. But a lot of it's kind of like, hey, we're literally giving you like the crazy schizo overview of like basically everything we talk about. So like, yeah, I'm sorry if it's not super thorough and it's a little bit all over the place, but like this is pretty sick and this is what we're freaking out about. And if you guys want to learn more, go check out our fucking show. So but anyways, let's keep moving on. Two Zionists, one cup says, I'm starting to really fear for my rights here in the U.S. as an Iranian American. Now that they are really arresting outspoken anti-Israeli people, I'm looking into moving assets out of the country. I mean, I'm a little hesitant to really think about, we talked about this yesterday, the sliding scale stuff, and it's going to start like, a lot of people are like, this will start affecting American citizens. And you're like, I know, obviously I don't know your citizenship status. So I don't know if you're a citizen, if you have a visa, if you have a green card. But as we just saw with this Mahmoud story, like even a green card, which I guess is more so than a visa, doesn't seem to protect you. So, I mean, now actual citizens, I don't know. So I guess the kind of the point I'm getting at here is if you're an actual citizen, I think you might be okay. If you still got a visa or green card, then yeah, I definitely would be piping down if I was you. So somebody's saying Trump went full Zionist during the Irish Prime Minister meetup. He sure did. That is one of the stories that I didn't choose to cover today, but that was what was the crux of that one? Essentially, he made some weird someone asked him something along the lines of like having to kick, or said something along the lines of kicking the Palestinians out, and he's like, we're not having to kick them out, and like, so a lot of people are taking that as him like either clarifying or reneging on things he said before, since it was kind of clear from the things he said before. He actually, I'm pretty sure he straight up said it, that like the Palestinians wouldn't be able to stay there, but then he kind of was like seated in this like, but they'll want to leave. So it is kind of like, a lot of people are like, oh look, he's changing his position, and like, I don't know if that really is the case, so we'll see. Let's see, Dan Davis is a great guy, is what this guy says. Yeah, same guy from Deep Dive. I'm not. That sounds familiar. I'm not sure what that is though. Let me see. Pipe down, brown people, says Joey Poopbag. All right, let's get into the next story. The last one on the foreign policy front. Now this is me back on the Israel front. I just kind of felt like this was a good example of the duplicitous nature of Israel, and then also the extent to which we go along with it and they make us look like shit. I mean, obviously we do it to ourselves, but it's this relationship in general. It's like, this is a shitty friend that, like, I don't know, you're in high school and they're doing drugs and they're doing, you know, I mean, whatever. I mean, we all did, most of us did drugs in high school and whatever. But it's, you know, it's like this, like, it's more than that. Like, this kid's just a bad kid. Like, they're a liar. They steal from people. They're just kind of a piece of shit. And like, they end up, you know, sucking you into so much of their shenanigans. And like, you might be this person who thinks of yourself as a good person, or generally kind of on the, you know, does the right thing. But it's like this, your friend, and like, you end up being put in situations where it's like, well, I don't really want to get, you know, Bobby in trouble, or let's call him Izzy for this situation. It's like, you know, okay, whatever, sure, I'll agree with you. Yeah, me and you, we're cool. We'll work together and screw over this other guy, but, you know, we'll keep this to ourselves. Like, this is what this relationship is, and we're like, I don't know, maybe I'm giving us too much credit. We're like kind of the better kid, the one that's like good-natured but like has a bad relationship. Although, let's be real, that's like putting it way too simply. But either way, just to give it rose-colored glasses, I don't know, just to make the boomers feel good about themselves out there, the three of them that listen to my show. Maybe that's the way to look at it. This is gross, but I guess I'll go ahead and give the story instead of giving a metaphor before even laying out the story, or a simile. I forget which one's which. Secret side deal with U.S. gave Israel free hand to keep attacking throughout Lebanon ceasefire. Virtually from the moment the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire deal was signed in November, there have been reports that the U.S. assured Israel that they could both sign the ceasefire and to be totally free to keep carrying out attacks on Hezbollah. Keep in mind the role that we sort of or kind of play, as we're supposed to be like the world policeman. We're like the big guy, the big kid in the like UN, NATO, etc., the world stage, the global hegemony. We're the one that when you're like, we get involved in these peace talks or whatever, or, you know, diplomacy, we're the third party that the what we're expected to fill is like, hey, we're the other large party that's essentially ensuring these two smaller parties kind of, you know, keep up to their end of the deal. Like, yeah, maybe we won't be able to do anything, but we are a large force that's kind of imposing. The idea is we're supposed to be sitting there, it's supposed to be a semi-neutral party that's kind of like, hey guys, let's be adults here. Let's act in good faith. Let's do things properly. That's not how this works here. Sources are now reporting that not only did that happen, but that the U.S. and Israel actually signed a secret agreement with respect to the ceasefire the U.S. was supposed to enforce. Lebanon was made aware of the secret deal, though they never signed or approved of it. But the U.S. actually was made aware, though they never signed or approved of it. Okay, they actually signed it. Okay, that's weird. It's the way that phrase still leaves me with some questions. So I don't know if my reading comprehension is lacking, or maybe I'm missing. Anyways, this revelation now provides context to the in excess of 1,000 ceasefire violations Israel has committed since November 27th, and why the U.S. did absolutely nothing about it. Israel has continued near daily attacks on southern Lebanon and spent months after the ceasefire was agreed, burning homes in southern villages. And this is after they were supposed to have left, I believe, or left. It was unlikely that Israel would have agreed to a ceasefire if it came with the presumption they they could actually have to cease firing. Israel has presented each attack they carried out as an imminent threat posed by Hezbollah, even though Hezbollah has not carried out a single attack on Israel since the ceasefire was agreed upon. Lebanese MPs have been complaining about the secret agreement in recent days. The U.S. National Security Council claimed the existence of the agreement was not true, but refused to answer any follow-up questions about why Israel keeps carrying out attacks without a U.S. reaction. So it's like, even if this thing doesn't exist, it may as well, the way you're behaving. The secret agreement and the continued attacks cast a pall over ongoing U.S. efforts to start mediation of border disputes between Israel and Lebanon. Israeli officials have suggested that the aim of the new talks about Israeli occupations of the Sheba farms, the ongoing military presence inside southern Lebanon, and other issues could lead to normalization with Lebanon. The Lebanese PM's office insisted the talks are not in any way a path to normalization on their own. Rather, they say the new committee discussions on border issues are part of UN Resolution 1701, and there are still no direct talks with Israel ongoing. In the meantime, the tensions remain palpable at the border, with Israeli airstrikes continuing. Lebanese troops reportedly removed barbed wire from the area of Barkat Risha in the south of the Tyre district along the Israel border. The wire was left there by Israeli occupation forces. All right, yeah, that was a lot, but just the point there is just kind of the duplicitous what's going on there. That we're just kind of this, we're getting dragged into their shittiness. I kind of went on a rant, I believe, a few days ago, kind of that, something similar that Israel was doing, and it's like, how are you supposed to be taken seriously in any diplomacy with any country in any regard? You're like, you have been shown to be such a deceitful entity that it's like, why would I come to the table with you on anything? You are not a good faith party, and we are showing ourselves to be the same, especially in any regard to anything involving Israel. And at some point, this will come back to bite us, I think. So, if not already. So JMS says USA is a big dumb bully that gets coaxed into a fight by a small happy pal. Yeah, that's one way to put it for sure. All right, let's get into our first major story of the day. The NGO Immigrant Railroad is what I called it. 1 second, I see Fire Pixie saying, hey, what was going on in Argentina yesterday? I saw some crazy shit. I know nothing of what's going on in Argentina. If you find something out there, people, be sure to tag me. And maybe it'll make it to tomorrow's show or tonight or today's show if you tag me in the... keep in mind, you guys can also drop stuff in the chat on Rumble, like links. YouTube is sketchy about links. I think it shadow bans most of that stuff. But Rumble, drop links in there, baby. And if you have an article or a Twitter link or something, then yeah, I'll bring it up. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into this. This is the underground illegal immigrant railroad I was referring to. This was shared, actually, funny enough, by Screwed Up Rebellion. He shared this to me. So once again, remind you guys, it's you guys that create this content or make this happen. So keep tagging me and shit. Here's Natalie Winter saying, revealed, Act Blue facilitates the illegal alien invasion of America. A multi-billion-dollar network of far-left NGOs responsible for helping illegal aliens make it to the U.S. and hotlines exposing ICE raids rely on this firm's financial infrastructure. One second. The following organizations are all listed as current funding partners of Act Blue. So, okay. So the crux here is we're focusing on Act Blue and then all these other organizations associated with them. Many of these groups are actively opposing the Trump administration's immigration agenda with lawsuits and protests and advocate for the abolition of all detention centers. I guess we can kind of look at these real quick. I don't know. Okay, whatever. These are just a bunch of different, some Migrant Solidarity Mutual Aid Network, Carolina Migrant Network, Justice for Migrant Women, Migrantes Unidos, Community Health Worker Coalition for Migrants and Refugees. So it just sounds like a bunch of different, disparate little charities. Migrant this, migrant that type deal. Now here we go. Border Angels. This NGO helps facilitate mass migration by helping illegal aliens at the southern border with services including educational programs, water drops in the desert, day laborer outreach, Familias Reunidas, immigration bond fund program, and shelter aid support in Tijuana to aid migrants and asylum workers or seekers in need. So this is in Tijuana, is what it sounds like. Although it listed multiple things. It just said the last one said then in Tijuana. So I don't know if the implication is each single one of these is in Tijuana or just the last one. I'm kind of reading this as all of them in Tijuana. So I think Tijuana is on the Mexican side of the border, correct? Or is that one of those weird places that's like on both sides of the borders? Kind of was like Baja. Isn't Baja one of those places on both sides of the borders? Well, it's saying Mexico. So just Mexico. I just looked it up. So, okay. So it sounds like they're chilling on the Mexican side of the border, is what the implication is here. They're chilling on the Mexican side of the border and helping people out, I guess. Almost the implication would be helping them across the border, or not necessarily across. It seems to be careful in parsing that because it says educational programs, water drops. I'm assuming I would assume that literally means like water. Day labor outreach. So I've been questions like, hey, where can I go to get work when I get back over there? And you're like, I guess you could put this in a way of like, well, I'm not telling you to do this, but if you were looking for work, here's a place to go. Educational programs. I mean, that could be as vague as like, here, literally go there and you cross that body of water or whatever. So that's kind of what the sound. God damn it, Jeff. Shut the fuck up. All right. Okay, there you go. See, it worked. That's all you got. No, damn it. It didn't work. He doesn't listen. He's literally, there's nothing wrong. He's just being a dick. He wants in a room. Their door is closed. That's all it is. And this is what he does. He's a child. All right, let's keep going. Border Servant Corps Incorporated. This NGO provides hospitality for migrants released by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, operating the two largest 24/7 migrant shelters in New Mexico and Texas. So this one's stateside. So this provides hospitality for migrants. So this is almost like sounds like a homeless shelter for migrants. Reports show they coordinate flights for hundreds of thousands of migrants. All right, now that gets even shadier. Now we're coordinating flights. All right. Provides hospitality for migrants released by the U.S. Homeland Security. For migrants, the wording there, released by, almost the implication is that would be legal ones, but I'm not sure. Oh man, they straight up say it on their thing. They go into Border Servants Corps. They literally provide the details. It looks like some sort of little. They go into their, the flights. Okay, yeah, no shit. They're straight up admitting that they have set this up. Although the wording of this makes it sound like this is some sort of semi-official something or else, because not every migrant is illegal. So, like, I don't know. This could just be people that this is some sort of program they use that helps them. I don't fucking know. Just trying to, I don't know, give it a benefit of the doubt. Humane Borders. This NGO helps facilitate mass migration by maintaining a system of dozens of water stations in the Sonoran Desert on routes used by migrants making the perilous journey to the United States on foot. I'm going to be real so far. I mean, obviously these are NGOs, so now like these are, obviously these are likely probably, getting government money somewhere, but on the assumption there's no government money here, I don't care. And even then, like, I'm not, so far the things I've seen, I'm not like particularly upset so far by what I've seen, frankly. Because every one of these, I mean, don't be wrong, I am upset assuming they are getting government money. I don't want this at all. But like, on the scale of things to be upset about, I don't know. This is shit like making sure the areas they traffic, they have water. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to fund that for 100%, but on the ranking of things that I'm like concerned about, not that good. It just does so far. Just doesn't seem too bad. I mean, I don't know. It's. I guess it depends where this money's coming from the start. So, because it's Act Blue, this is a multi-million dollar network. All right, maybe we'll get more into the funding area. Because so far, like, yeah, this isn't shit I'd want to ever fund or ever chip in a buck for. But like, I don't know, whatever. This is shit like, giving them water and stuff. Like, I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm looking at this a little too rosy. Keno Border Initiative. This NGO helps facilitate mass migration to Arizona, including providing humanitarian assistance for deported migrants and routinely attacking CBP and ICE. Okay, now the deported migrants get some where you're like, okay, what's going on there? Because now, like, the other one was worded oddly because it said No, that last one, but the one before, because it was said the migrants released by the U.S. Department of Home Security. So that's like almost as the implication is like, oh no, these ones are good. But then this one obviously deported. Oh no, these ones are bad. Okay, that's weird. The NGO, they provide humanitarian assistance for deported migrants. Okay. Now what does that mean? I'm not sure. They identify the need for humanitarian assistance for. I guess the idea is for people to get deported, maybe to help them when they're back home. I don't know. This one's a little weird. I don't understand what the purpose of that would be. Migrant Solidarity Mutual Aid Network. This NGO helps with the transfer of illegal aliens into the DMV area, operating an ICE emergency hotline, which helps illegal aliens avoid deportation. All right, now we're getting to some juicy stuff where it's like, all right, now this is straight up like trying to break the law, is what this sounds like to me. Although, I don't know, it is a very blurry line, because, I mean, I don't know, is it illegal to provide information to an illegal immigrant? No, but now if you're trying to advise them on how to break the law, I don't know, it's debatable. Border Network for Human Rights. This Open Borders NGO advocates for mass amnesty and helps organize activists and protests against Border Patrol and border security measures. They also support mass amnesty for all illegal aliens. Okay, so they advocate for mass amnesty, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that, but they help organize activists and protests against Border Patrol. Okay, all right. This sounds more like a activist group than it does any sort of charity to me, but Hope Border Institute. This NGO is organizing mass demonstrations against the Trump administration's border policies and helps facilitate the movement of illegal aliens. Boasting on their website, we have provided innovative responses to the impacts of changing policies on the border from Remain in Mexico to Title 42 and the asylum bans. Now, this is another one that I'm like, okay, well, that one's interesting because they're talking about illegal aliens, but I'm not sure where they're getting that from, though. It sounds like that's just something they're saying, whereas then they show a quote that doesn't necessarily say that it is illegal aliens. So, I don't know. Okay. Let me scrolling through this, seeing how many more of these there are. Jesus Christ, there's a fucking lot of these. I don't know if we're going to go through all these. Holy shit, my bad. I should have totally scrolled through these. These are a fucking lot. All right. Well, shit. Well, okay. Well, Jesus Christ. Let's keep scrolling. I'm scrolling through these, seeing if there's anything, about the funding side of things. Good man, there's a lot of these, though. Shit. Fuck. All right. Well, yeah, no, these are just, nope. They just go into each individual one by one. Honestly, though, I got to say, though, from the ones I dug into, this kind of just looks like once again, she didn't focus on it really at the beginning, on like where Act Blue is getting their money from particularly. I mean, you assume as an NGO, it's probably getting government money. So that's where I'd have the issue. But really, honestly, most of these stuff in here were just kind of like, stuff boomer cons would get upset about. But like, unless we're talking government money here, it's like whatever. Like, okay, you're talking about giving people walking through the desert some water, or I don't know, some lefty wants to send a few $100 to some deported immigrant. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It depends. It really, really depends on what this thing is, like, exactly. So let's look it up. Let's look up Act Blue. Let's take a second, look up Act Blue. See how it's funded. Act Blue funding. Let's just do a quick little Google. Act Blue funding. Let me see. Okay, let's share this instead. Act Blue is a major part of the Democratic Party's fundraising infrastructure. It is focused on mobilizing small dollar donors, and as of June 24, has raised $13.7 billion for Democratic candidates and causes since it was established. Okay, so now we're getting a little something more juicy instead of just going through individual. But I'm kind of glad we did take the time to go through some of those individual ones. I'm glad I realized how long it was before we spent much longer on that. But you kind of got to see the idea of the types of things. I think maybe it's not as sinister as, this is kind of being portrayed, but maybe not, because this sounds like this is like a donor infrastructure. So this is like it sounds like it's mostly free. Now, I don't know what extent this is. Maybe the Act Blue is somehow tied into federal funds. I'm not sure. If that's the case, then that's a different story. But if this is just like a Democratic fundraising and this is supposedly just stuff that comes out off of that, then that's legit. So, but I mean, it kind of makes sense given that these would be kind of programs these retards would be funding. But all right, let's go ahead and pop back into the chat, see what you guys have to say. Yeah, Targeting NPC liked the video. Yeah, hit that like button. Let me see. Let's scroll back up to. Sorry. Let me see. Somebody said Javier Milei is a Jew. Okay. Let me see. Malay will fuck over the country. Man, yeah, a lot of Malay haters. We got some Malay haters in here. I don't really have a strong opinion. Lance here saying Malay is under pressure from the World Bank to enforce austerity in Argentina. They have one of the highest rates of poverty and destitution now. Okay. Because I'm assuming they think this is follow up on Fire Pixie saying what was going on there. I thought that meowing was my cat locked up for a second. No, that's me. I'm sorry. My bad. Not much I can do about that. Here's JMS saying, I remember Brazil special ops throwing grenades at a library or something. Oh, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about there. Let me see. Scrolling through what you guys have to say. See, screwed up Texas saying trillions of dollars, and they all get free housing, food, medical, etc. Well, that's my thing though. I want to know where this money's coming from, because if it's just a bunch of lefties, I may think it's a waste of their money, but that's their money to give away. If they want to house some fucking some other Jose out there, I mean that's their thing. I mean, now if they're directly funding illegal activities, no, obviously like I'm not going to be a narc and tell on them, but obviously that's a different story. Let me see. James O'Keefe went and visited the Act Blue donors at their houses, and it's all fraud. 3 donations per day for an entire year. Now, there you go. Now we're talking. Now, the fraud, but like just looking at those causes, there wasn't anything that was like, there wasn't a lot that was directly illegal, and it just kind of seemed like faggoty left-wing causes. And so then it really just becomes like, okay, now where's the money coming from? And now if it is coming from us somehow, or this is some sort of scam, different story, obviously. So, all right, let's get back into, here we go. I got something from, who was this? Rage Child shared this to us, shared this to the show. This is BJ Penn. I haven't watched this, so let's see. I guess BJ Penn alleged that the government killed his mom and replaced her with an imposter. Wild stuff, but all right, let's watch.
What's up, Paul? Huh? Fuck you, cunt. Fuck you, what? You can only do this because you get the government behind you. Fuck you, get crazy. Fuck you. This lady right here, look at her ass and legs. She's acting like my 79-year-old mother. But she's not my 79-year-old mother. And it's interesting, when you Google Lorraine Abele, our house pops up. Because this lady acts like Lorraine Inouye. So you Google Lorraine Abele, and this house pops up, and then you look him, and then my mom's name starts popping up. She's trying to steal everything, and this is not my mother. And I'm putting this up because she's saying that she's gonna get an attorney and try to do something. She's trying to throw me out, and if I attack her, she'll try to do something, TRO or something else, but she's...
What the fuck is this? All right. She says she already sold her a Honolulu studio for $2.5 million. Oh, man, this seems insane. I mean, this broad kind of looks like... I mean, he showed those pictures, of what was her. I don't know if he's claiming these aren't pictures of her, and I don't know at what point he's claiming that the imposter took over. But... yeah, I don't know. All of these pictures look like... and this old lady looks totally like this could be... the same one from the pictures. So, man, is BJ Penn just losing his mind? Is this some sort of weird joke that I'm just not getting? Get off the road. This is bizarre. See, this is Lorraine Abele, not Lorraine Shin? This is so bizarre. I have no idea what to make of this. I mean, maybe he's telling the truth. This is somebody saying, who's BJ Penn? BJ Penn, that is, that's used to be, I don't remember what weight class he was, but he used to be a champion, UFC champion. So yeah, okay, all right. Well, that's something. I don't really have anything to add to that whatsoever at all. But yeah, someone's saying he has major CT issues. It's senior issues all over again. Yeah, I mean that could be believable. I mean this could just be sad. I mean obviously, I kind of want to believe just for funsies that it's like this is real and that like the feds are just gaslighting BJ Penn. But no, I mean that's probably more than likely that this is some sort of CTE. So this is kind of sad. I mean this is what happens when you get punched in the face over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Wouldn't recommend it. Although this dude was a super duper badass. So all right, let's go ahead and get into the next story. Let's too deep down the rabbit hole. Was he into conspiracy? Says Curvis. I don't know, man. That's wild shit. Poor guy. Hopefully either they bust his mom for the fake mom or he gets his shit together. So, all right, this is another one of the ones that's like the main topics, one of the namesakes in the title. This is Mahmoud. What's his name? Mahmoud Khalil. This is on him. This is from Doctori 420. It says, Jose, you might want to read the whole article, but here's an outtake I found interesting, and we'll get into the article in a second, assuming it's not too crazy long. And this is an excerpt, Doctori took out. It says, however, MEE has found that he previously worked as a program manager at the Syria office in the British Embassy in Beirut from 2018 to 2022. Online records reviewed by MEE show that Khalil worked as a local manager for the Syria Chevening program, a prestigious UK government international scholarship scheme, as well as for the Conflict Stability and Security Fund. So obviously it looks like this guy came from, went through some sort of programs overseas and then came over here. Which I will say these glow a little, although not a ton. But I guess if you're one of those people who go, everything's a stage, the whole world's a theater. I mean, this guy is a part of it, obviously. Here he is, and on top of that too, I think I just saw something. I sent it over to Tyler. I'll actually I'll check what he says. He has to say. Actually, I'll ask him right now. I asked him for a TLDR. I'll go ahead and show you it right here. I'll show you the TLDR. I'll show you the first. Okay, here we go. You guys, let me show you this. This is on the Khalil thing to kind of the whole point of him being like it being theater or whatever. I found this literally right before we started. It said this is. I mean, it didn't get posted before we started. This got posted almost midnight last night. But this is Margaret Cleveland saying Trump administration files motion to dismiss/transfer in Khalil case. And then I didn't really have the time to go through all these, and I don't really understand legalese like my buddy, Tyler does. So here we go. We have. So I asked him for the TLDR. He said the government contends that the case was filed in the wrong district and should either be dismissed or transferred to the correct jurisdiction, emphasizing the precedent requires habeas petitions to be filed in the district where the petitioner is confined. Note, he was transferred to Louisiana for some odd reason, but likely to confuse where venue is. So sounds like the government's saying that they're looking like they're going to either dismiss it or transfer it. I don't know. I mean, if it transferred, I would assume then you're just in the same case somewhere else. So anyways, that was just kind of on the point of like if this is all theater, because if it ends up getting thrown out, then it's kind of like, oh, is this all theater? I don't know. It looks like it might get thrown out, but all right, cool. I'm glad I got that TLDR because that, it sounds like, and once again, that was a clickbaity article because judging by my lawyer friend Tyler here, that doesn't hold up. That this is files motion. Maybe they did file a motion, but people will read this and think, oh, they're dismissing or dismissing it. It does say dismiss/transfer, but it's just a matter of like what catches people's eyes and what they understand when they read it. I think most people would read this quickly and just go, and their takeaway be, without reading all of it and go, oh, I think they're getting ready to dismiss it. So, but anyways, all right, let's get back to him. I just figured it made sense to kind of, update on that. But that's where the legal side of things is at. But here we go. Let's go into this post. This is from MiddleEastEye.net. Peter Oborn with a tweet saying Mahmoud Mahmoud Khalil is tonight in a federal jail after Trump called him a radical foreign pro-Hamas student. A former Brit diplomat tells MEE he worked for Britain on flagship soft power policy and had security clearance. So let's go ahead and read this. Make sure it's not too stupid long. All right, cool. Yeah, no, it's not. All right. Let's get into this. Mahmoud Khalil, the Palestinian Columbia University graduate detained by U.S. immigration authorities over the weekend, worked for the British government on its flagship soft power policy for years, Middle East Eye can reveal. Khalil, and by the way, once again, okay, let's recap this real quick, because I kind of breezed over it, assuming that most of you guys know. I guess, I assume, anytime I'm on the show, I assume that anyone listening has listened to everything I've ever said on the show. So I can't assume you guys have been in every show, but this Mahmoud Khalil guy, for those who haven't been paying attention, he's the guy recently that's facing deportation for essentially being anti-Israel. The claim being is that he's pro-Hamas from the Trump administration, and as such, they're able to revoke his green card. So we'll see how this plays out, because it's like that's kind of a First Amendment. They're not claiming he committed any crime, so it's debatably a First Amendment thing. But then he's not a citizen, so does it apply to him? Whatever. Beside the point. But either way, we're kind of going into who this guy is. Khalil, a permanent resident of the U.S., was taken to custody by ICE on Saturday night. Federal judge temporarily blocked his deportation, and Khalil is currently awaiting proceedings in a federal jail in Louisiana. On Monday, in a post on Donald Trump's Truth Social platform, the U.S. president described Khalil as a radical foreign pro-Hamas student and announced his arrest was the first arrest of many to come. We know there are more students at Columbia and other universities across the country who have engaged in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity, and the Trump administration will not tolerate it, Trump said. The White House triumphantly, but that's not right, posted Trump's statement and an image of Khalil on X on Monday, accompanied the words "Shalom, Mahmoud," and the accusation that he led activities aligned to Hamas. Khalil graduated with a master's degree from Columbia School of International and Public Affairs in December. He was one of the main negotiators for students during the pro-Palestine campus encampment in the spring of 2024. However, MEE has found that he previously worked as a program manager at the Syria office in the British Embassy in Beirut from 2018 to 2022. Okay, so he was in the British Embassy in Beirut for 4 years. Okay. Online records reviewed by MEE show that Khalil worked as a local manager for the Syria Chevening program, a prestigious UK government international scholarship scheme, as well as a conflict stability and security fund. Okay, so he's part of a scholarship fund in Beirut, the Syria office in Beirut in the British Embassy. Okay. So in Beirut, where is Beirut? What even is Beirut? Am I retarded? Oh, that's Lebanon. Okay, so he was in Lebanon in a British embassy in the Syrian office. So a lot going on there. Okay, and that he was there on a scholarship, some sort of scholarship scheme of some sort. Former British diplomat Andrew Waller, who was a policy advisor at the Syria office while Khalil worked there, told MEE that the U.S. government's depiction of Khalil was false and defamatory. He went through a vetting process at the job and was cleared to work on sensitive issues for the British government, Waller said. It's outright defamation what Trump has done. Mahmoud is an extremely kind and conscientious person and was loved by his colleagues at the Syria office, he added. You couldn't find anyone who'd say a bad word about him. He was very good at his job. The Chevening Scholarship, which is funded by the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, describes its mission as being to support UK foreign policy priorities and achieve FCDO objectives by creating lasting positive relationships with future leaders, influencers, and decision makers. Okay. Waller described as a flagship UK soft power policy. So soft power being more, that's what intelligence is. Intelligence is soft power. Intelligence connections, what's like the narrative, like controlling a narrative, like just influence operations. That's soft power. Just, it's not using force. It's literally using influence. So he was part of in a policy by the UK to increase their influence. So, I mean, you can obviously, if you want to derive glowy angles from that, you clearly can. Although I'll be honest, a little little weak here. It brings the brightest students from around the world to UK universities. Mahmoud ran its Syria program and interviewed hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants on behalf of the British government. He was also a local staff political officer responsible for providing the contextual understanding and linguistic skills to translate meetings, Waller recalled. It's really interesting. Less than 2 weeks ago, J.D. Vance is lecturing Keir Starmer about free speech, and the U.S. goes and kidnaps Mahmoud Khalil for organizing student protests. Tricia McLaughlin, spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, told MEE on Monday that Khalil's arrest was in support of President Trump's executive order prohibiting anti-Semitism. Khalil led activities aligned to Hamas, a designated terrorist organization. Hours later, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the U.S. would be revoking the visas and green cards. All right, that's enough. That's all. That's the crux of that story. I don't need to keep reading that. It's basically the end, anyways. But just don't deport. What the heck, Eddie? That's not cool. They have been Zionist One Cup says they have been whitewashing the Wahhabi beheaders in Syria since they were created. The part about his UK connections in the second half of the article. Oh, okay. Well, we already covered. Yeah, we covered that. He worked in the UK office in their embassy, but like specifically in the Lebanon. He worked in Lebanon in the UK embassy, working on Syrian affairs, so which is a lot going on there. Someone saying BJ Penn's net worth is $22 million, so maybe that guy, maybe he did get fucked with. So, all right, let's move on to the next story. Let's get into the last major thing this episode's titled over after. We're going to talk about the Iranian assassination plot. There's been some semi-newer stuff. We've covered this before, but I figured it'd be good to kind of rehash this. This was about a week ago or so, about 4 days ago. We had Mark Levin, which we referred to earlier. He was one of the assholes that was blowing up that one military guy's spot because he dared to say anything negative about Israel. So that's the kind of guy that Mark is, retardedly, in the bag for Israel. He is peak boomer con. He is the boomer con. It says, didn't Iran try to assassinate President Trump and other U.S. officials? Or did the neocons, warmongers, Fox and Israel fabricate that? They fabricated it. I mean, this is a stupid fucking question. Did Iran really try to kill Trump, or did the bad guys do bad things? The bad guys did bad things. That's what the bad guys do. So, and then here's Ken saying yes, it was fabricated, and he's sharing his article. And the article being, the DOJ hides recordings of undercover FBI agents in Iranian assassination plot case. All right, gets a little juicier. Not quite as simple as, old Iran often. Why am I Trumpy poo? Why did I have a hard time thinking of the word Trump? Man, rough day. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So the Seif merchant, the Pakistani man busted for hiring 2 undercover FBI agents to be hitmen in an Iranian-sponsored assassination plot against Donald Trump, has been held in solitary confinement under squalid conditions since his July 12th arrest. And according to Merchant's attorney, he hasn't been allowed to review the recordings of the 2 undercover agents and the FBI informant who ran the sting on him. Which, this kind of shit is nuts. I've seen this especially in this realm where I talk about so much parapolitical stuff. It is so not uncommon to see these stories of people going... dealing with the judicial system, and they're not able to bring certain things to their defense because they're barred to for reasons X, Y, and Z. Usually something related to, it's confidential. And most of the time, these are things super crucial to their fucking defense. How this is allowed is beyond me. I mean, I'm no lawyer, but it's just insanity. Like, you're completely, setting someone up for failure at that point. And you're just saying, well, sorry, we're the government, you're fucked. So, but all right. The government has designed all of the recorded conversations between Mr. Merchant, the confidential informant, and the undercover agents, many of which are lengthy and in Urdu, as sensitive, and consequently it has refused to provide the defendant with a copy of those items to review at the prison. Merchant's attorney Abraham Muskowitz said in a Wednesday letter to U.S. Judge Eric Committee. So it's like, how the fuck are you supposed to mount a defense if you can't even get access to the documents that prove your guilt? Your supposed guilt. So, according to Moskowitz, the Justice Department is refusing to provide his client with the recordings because prosecutors fear they will be smuggled out of prison, thereby endangering the informant and undercovers. But Moskowitz said the risk of recordings being smuggled out of Merchant's high-security jail is nearly non-existent unless one of the prison guards does the deed. He is in solitary confinement and has no human contact other than with the correctional officers who bring him his meals and check on him through the shuttered window of his cell. He is able to review discovery only when he is taken to the law library on his unit and given a computer and a hard drive provided by the government, and he's under the supervision of correctional officers at all times while reviewing discovery, Moskowitz noted. Mr. Merchant does not have access to any devices that would allow him to copy the recordings or to any media on which he might store any such copies, and his total lack of human contact makes it impossible for him to smuggle anything out of the MDC, the defense attorney added. Given the stringent conditions of confinement under which Mr. Merchant is held, the only way the recordings could be copied and smuggled out of the MDC is if it is done by a member of the MDC staff. Moskowitz initially complained in December about his client's restrictive prison conditions. Last month, he said the DOJ addressed his concerns, but this week he changed course when he realized the government wasn't living up to its promises, which include bringing Merchant to a courthouse once a month to meet with Moskowitz in person. I've been able to meet with the defendant at the courthouse on only one occasion, and the visit was cut short when the marshals insisted that he be returned before 1 p.m., despite the fact that the prisoners were usually returned to the MDC after the court day is over, sometime after 5 p.m. So this is his attorney. This is this guy's attorney, Asif Merchant, the supposed guy involved in some sort of Iranian plot, which we've covered it before. It's complete bullshit. We didn't go into the details of that. But either way, and they're not letting us get like any of the information. But his defense attorney has met with him one time. One time. This is how these things work. This is similar such things with the Michigan kidnapping people. Like this is how the government fucks you over. Like, I mean, you get such a raw deal. The second visit with Mr. Merchant is scheduled to take place on February 27th. Never happened because, for some explained reasons, the marshals failed to produce him to the courthouse, although other prisoners were produced that morning. So literally, you have situations where the attorney is showing up and they won't even bring him out. Moskowitz asked Judge Committee to lift the sensitive designation from the recorded conversations between the defendant, the confidential informant, and the undercover agents. The defendant participated in the conversations and knows who he communicated with, and therefore is in no danger of allowing him to listen to those recordings outside the presence of counsel, Moskowitz reiterated in his letter. Moreover, given the onerous conditions of confinement under which he's held, Mr. Merchant has no ability to copy or disseminate the recordings to anyone, let alone to smuggle them outside the MDC, he concluded. The only people who could smuggle them are the staff, blah, 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 blah. It's not clear when Judge Committee will address the issues. The parties are set for a March 14th status hearing. So it's supposed to be a hearing tomorrow. We'll see what comes of that. All right, let's check into the chat, see what you guys have to say. The fuck? All right, let's keep going. Let's go through the chat. Oh, okay, never mind. Still high from yesterday, Jose. No, I am not. That was last night. That was Tower Gang, a special occasion. Tower Gang, baby. $20 super sticker. Holy shit for old Austin. Once again, don't forget, guys. Austin's not even here. He's making money. I think the dickhead ditched us too. You guys go ahead and tell him. Screw you. Okay. All right. Yeah. I actually just checked DMs because you reminded me just now. No. Yeah. Austin is not coming now. So he reneged. So you didn't even, he's not even coming and you give him money. What the fuck, dude? All right. Let's, but appreciate it, dude. I'm just goofing with you. Thanks for giving the homie money. Rising tide raises all ships. So with that, let's, the feds are railroading this guy, says River D. Of course they are. What else do they do? That is what feds do. All right, let's considering as Austin's not here, there's one more story. I have a story that kind of segues into another story that I want to cover, an old story. So let's go ahead and get into that. Go ahead and buckle up, guys. This will be probably a little bit of a long one. But here is Tanya Yiki. She is sharing I'll start with the original tweet because it makes the most sense. We have Chase Geyser. This is from, what was this? Yesterday. He said, I was just swatted again moments ago, just before 2 a.m. 6 to 8 police officers used a PA system to call me by name and order me to walk out of my house. I was handcuffed in the middle of the street, presumably at gunpoint, though I couldn't tell because of the light being shined on my face. I was then led into the house where my wife was woken up, and we were informed that they received a call from someone pretending to be me and threatening to kill my family. So he says swatted for a second time in 12 hours. Here's the video. So there, he's got video of it. Now, how do I put this? Now, this is part of a larger narrative. I don't pay attention enough to the InfoWars world to understand what theater, what drama is going on. But I've seen stuff. I guess this, Chase has been swatted multiple times. I don't know if any of the other guys have been swatted. There was talk about, obviously this is in the very Jonesian way of like how, he's received credible, reports that there's assassination attempts on Jones's, life out there and blah, blah, blah. And let's be real, there's a chance this is all legit. But we've also, and I'm not even, I want to be very, 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 very clear. I'm not shitting on Chase here. I've never had a problem with him. We actually joked about this in the post show last night. We joked on the post show about this, and we've talked about it on the main show before. I'm pretty sure we even referenced it when we had Chase on the show forever ago. So anyway, just want to be thrown out there. I have no problem with Chase, whatever. I don't really have like any shades, but what I'm about to tell you guys here, it's going to come off as shitty. I know for a fact that this guy like essentially artificially patted the absolute living fuck out of his ascent. I don't think like to an absurd degree. We used to like literally make jokes about like, holy shit, look at this guy. He got Steve Bannon on the show. And if you know how to read metrics, he really in reality only got like 100 views or something. Like, it was insane. Like, and I forget how he was doing it. Like, he was somehow paying for, I don't know if it was subscribers or I think it was subscribers. So that's what kind of made it like obvious. So it was kind of like, I can't remember how he did it. I think he did it a few different ways. And you could tell every now and then there'd be certain videos. But especially if you're someone who's been in the game or if, like of content creation, or if you're familiar with it, you can kind of tell. And I know it sounds a lot of time like a cope, because you're like, oh, you're just coping because they're being popular. But it's just like, no, there were times where it'd be like, we legitimately, it was weird because you would see so much popular, and then you'd be like, but look at these views. And you're like, this doesn't match up with this or that. He did that all the way into getting a job on InfoWars. No shade whatsoever. That's fine. I never went that route. I always kind of considered, because there is something to the idea of like, I think you can get something, and there is probably some sort of boost to be had at that. Clearly, he's the case in point. Like, he literally landed an InfoWars job. He has like 300,000 followers on here. I don't know. I don't think he runs his own individual podcast anymore. So like, that doesn't even matter anymore. Like those numbers being artificial, like I was implying to you before. And then maybe some of the, the view numbers were like, holy shit, how did you have this big of a name and get no views? So that's not even like a concern for him anymore. He landed, like, it worked. Clearly, case in point, it worked. But I also would kind of gotta say, like, it's also kind of indicative of like, if we're going to be playing, literally it was all artificial. So it's like, would it really be that crazy to take that to another level and be part of some sort of theater? And by the way, I'm not even saying I have a strong opinion one way or the other here. I'm just saying this is something I was just thinking about it a lot last night, and I was just like, I don't know, considering knowing how he came up and then just kind of, and I don't even have a strong opinion whether, the Alex Joneses of the world are controlled ops or whatever, or if this is all theater. I don't know. It really could be, for all I know, it could be this thing. This could be all legit, or even could be just kind of like, we'll just, maybe it's a little bit contrived. We just, it's a little bit hyperbolic, a little bit lying. You got to put on a good show. It's kind of like a WWE thing, whatever. Oh no, okay, cool. We get Billy to fucking call in the cops, and oh no, you got doxxed, and like. But I'm just saying, like, maybe I don't know. I guess whatever. Behind the scenes info. I'm just saying that just for you guys, That's just, I get gut feeling. It just feels, and I guess I've just I have noticed since the Jones has come back on the scene, since supposedly they were supposed to be gone after the whole Sandy Hook shit, everything has felt so much like theater. I mean, I never really paid much attention to InfoWars in the first place, but it just felt even more like theater. We had the whole like, oh, it's going to be gone. Oh, now it's back. Oh, we have this. Oh, we have that. And it's like, but really in the reality, it's like kind of this like nothing ever happened. So, but either way, all of this is actually to kind of get to actually to covering Iki's story, but I also just kind of, I guess, kind of current into the old, just that's what we have going on now. We have this kind of feels like some sort of WWE storyline going on in InfoWars about how he's super dangerous and the deep state's after him. Is it true? I don't know. I have kind of, this is just kind of one window into that, the kind of people that come up but want to be very clear. Nothing. I have no ill will against Chase. He clearly got to a successful place using this method. And I said, honestly, if I wasn't a fucking poor, I probably would have done it too. It was just, it feels gross. And then also just kind of like it costs money having to like, buy subscribers, buy this, buy that. But what you do is you can pad your numbers and then people get this perception that you're bigger than you are. And then it kind of snowballs from there. I've never done that. It's been completely organic the whole way through. And if anything, like when you're going organic, you have the opposite problem, especially when you talk about contentious issues where you have, if anything, it's likely probably the opposite, where if anything, you get gum thrown in your works because you're like, oh, we don't want this guy to do as well. So, yeah, with that guy, support me. I don't, although maybe I should start fucking, buying views or subscribers or whatever. But no, I like you guys. But let's I just want to let you guys know that is a thing going on, because keep your ears out for that. We'll find out more. Also, to Chase, if you do see this, hey, no shade. I hope that this is, whatever this is, assuming this is legit, ends. Definitely your family should not be someone getting targeted. It could be totally legit. It's just kind of that it's just, I know, just given the, the way I've come to view InfoWars over time, this is kind of, it's just kind of like, it just makes sense to me. They're like, I don't know, would it really be that crazy? But all right, let's get to kind of connect this into the larger story. Now, this is Tanya here saying, this gives me absolute chills. Swatting is now used as a sinister twist in setting up a murder/self-infliction death story. She says, in 96, after a year of mysterious harassment and break-ins at my home that seemed to implicate my husband, Sergeant Terrence Hickey, as the culprit, I moved myself and our children on March 27th to an apartment 3 flights of stairs up with an alarm system. The rent was twice the cost of my house payment, so it seemed an irrational move at the time. It proved not to be 6 weeks later. Terry was found dead in the field on federal property on May 8th, 1996. Multiple sources over the next year would privately claim that the plan was to frame Terry for the deaths of the entire family in our marital home, but I moved without warning, making this no longer a plausible narrative. Part 2 became Terry's murder and placing the guilt and blame upon me instead. The mysterious harassment and home break-ins continued after Terry's death. All of this is covered in David Hoffman's book, The Politics of Terror. All right, let's check in the chat real quick, and then I think we're going to get into actually reading Hoffman's article on Terrence Hickey. So let's go back. I feel like a dick dropping that, but hey, it's true, and I think it's worth being aware. So here's a script text saying Alex Jones said that Michael Flynn was told from a high-level security agent that there were credible threats to assassinate Alex Jones, which I don't trust Flynn at all. I don't know enough about him. The little bit I see him, he just seems like kooky glowy. That seems the role he fits. I have no idea if that's true or not. So what happens to a-holes who call swatting people? Absolutely nothing. Chase says Geyser has never lied or exaggerated before. JC says, I don't know if he's ever outright lied. Obviously he's on InfoWars, so it's kind of like, I mean, let's be real. Even I have exaggerated, like whether intentionally or not. I don't know. I mean, I've definitely, so. Holy shit. Okay. InfoWars reporter was just killed in front of his house after his show. All right. Well, I forgot. Oh, shit. I did remember that. Okay. No. Okay, though. I remember that vaguely. So, okay. Pairing that up with that, now I seem like a real fucking asshole after dropping that information now, don't I? But, okay. Now, anyone have that person's name? Because I am curious, to what extent were they actually an InfoWars reporter? Is it just someone who's contributed before? Like, what does this mean? I'm curious for that. Okay, because that is... All right, I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. That's wild. Okay, I'm totally an asshole now, aren't I? But whatever, it's still true, and it needed to be said. So I don't think he padded his own numbers. I think he was asked for turf by his handlers, JC said. I mean, I can tell you, I mean, I'm not saying we were close friends or anything, but from me interacting with him, I didn't get anything from that, but I wouldn't be surprised either. He was also he's always super cool and funny, you know, like no issues whatsoever. He's never did anything wrong to me. I'm not even like, it's not even like a jealousy thing, whatever. Like, I mean, this is like it just is what it is, you know, I mean, but he was always cool to me, so. Honestly, okay, let me see. It's so easy to manipulate views. You can buy viewers cheap. Yeah, I mean, I probably honestly, I really probably should. I guess I probably need to look into prices, but I don't know. Tim Pool gets swatted too. Could just be for the PR. I can't put anything past these people. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Once again, Tim Pool's another place I've gone before. I still don't have enough of a read on him to say whether he would or would not do that. I mean, it seems ridiculous to do that to yourself over and over again, but it wouldn't be that crazy. Doc Dory's saying, it's also with somebody like a Tim Pool or even like a Chase Geyser. I feel like with the Chase Geyser, it's kind of, I mean, I guess his association with InfoWars might get him, but him alone, I'm just like, this doesn't seem like someone that, you know, people would fuck with like that. But yeah, Tim Pool, he has definitely made enough enemies that, you know, it's not really that crazy that, you know, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people of that caliber swatted themselves, because it is also kind of writes a good story, but they're also at a spot where like it's also perfectly plausible they were getting swatted themselves. So yeah, yet another mysterious reporter death, which I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I think the last time I had William Ramsey on, he said something like, keep an eye out, people are going to start dropping dead, implying influencers. So kind of like almost like a Laurel Canyon like death drop kind of deal. Like, for those who are aware, there was like a large string of deaths around that time too. Almost like people not on, maybe the implication being maybe people not entirely on message. And I think the implication from William was kind of like, keep an eye out, we're probably going to get that going on here. So let's keep going. That Mario guy Elon always retweets, did the same thing with Spaces. I don't know what you're referring to there. Let me scroll through. You can pay. Bobo says you can pay me to watch your videos. Yeah, no, you pay me to watch my videos. I think you're a supporter, aren't you? Okay, I'm scrolling through. I'm just looking through the chat still. Somebody says the whole Thomas Massey thing is theater. Also, yeah, we still haven't heard about his wife, have we? I mean, I guess there's nothing incumbent on him saying he has to release that information, but it definitely is curious when like one of Israel's biggest enemies in the United States and then their wife drops dead. You're like, what the fuck? What happened? You kind of would like to know details. I mean, not that he's really changed any of his positions. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, well, fuck. Maybe we won't go into Yiki today. I think I might need to dig into this InfoWars person. So, I think I'll hold on to the Yiki story for tomorrow. But this is this was the segue into it, but I do want to cover that, so we'll probably cover that tomorrow. I'll keep the I do want to take a second to before we jump off into this murder story. Here is I wanted to show you guys real quick the Libertarian Institute, the OKC bombing archive. They're also in a fundraising drive right now, so go support those guys. But yeah, you go to libertarianinstitute.org/OKC, and this brings you to the largest public Oklahoma City bombing archive there is out there. So you can see here, in the top, kind of in the top right-hand corner-ish, you see Explore the Archive. You type in whatever, like you can see McVeigh's sister letter. I could type in there. I had typed in Yiki. So this is the results we're looking right here from Yiki. It's kind of like a Google search, so it brings up all the different documents related to Yiki. Here's a Wendy painting thing. There's a Hoffman, which is the one we were getting ready to read, which, she mentioned the book, but we're going to read his article on it, which pretty much covers everything from the book. So then there's a Loudenslager article in here. And so point being is, if you do ever have any questions about Oklahoma City bombing, this is the place to go. Go to the libertarianinstitute.org/OKC. And from there, you can literally type in, like, look here, I can type in McVeigh's sister letter, hit go, and then it'll dial me up. It is a little bit slow. I'll give it that. So it feels a little bit like old there now when it comes to waiting for things to load. But anyways, it'll drop down and give me a bunch of different articles here. Likely, probably the first one being the actual. All right, we're not gonna wait for that to load, but you guys get the idea. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna pop into the chat looking for this. Let's look into this InfoWars story. Let's read this. Man, it's still loading. Holy shit. All right, let's get into this. Yeah, it does sometimes you got to refresh it. So it's a little old and glitchy. But either way, it's still the largest public Oklahoma City bombing public archive. Great for finding resources on that story. But yeah, we'll cover that tomorrow. We'll cover the I'll go ahead and bookmark it right now. So that way we don't forget. All right, cool. That's bookmarked. We'll read the Hoffman article tomorrow, assuming Austin doesn't join us and we go into something crazy. So this is from The Independent. This is by Andrea Cavalier. It says, family reveals possible motive behind brutal murder of InfoWars reporter. So let's go ahead and read this. Actually, what's
Ratliff with the Austin Police Department public
no, let's watch this video real quick.
Information Office. So last night at approximately 11:57 p.m., officers responded to a shoot stab hotshot, which is a high priority call for service in the 2300 block of Douglas.
All right, whatever. No, I'm not just gonna just watch some video of some broad reading her phone. All right, let's just read the article. All right, actually bring that down. All right, so let's get back into this. My bad. All right, so family. All right, an InfoWars reporter was brutally murdered not because of his job, but by a suspect who was trying to break into his car, his heartbroken family has revealed. Jamie White was killed late Sunday near his Texas apartment in suspected homicide, his family confirmed. I don't believe it was targeted, White's sister Kelly Neal told The Independent. He was shot by a person or persons trying to break into his car for the second time. Okay. All right. Well, assuming this is a break-in, and if all the other stuff is just people, tacking onto this, that's kind of gross. But all right. Kelly explained that her brother's car had first been broken into when he was home for Christmas. Although I will say this is also kind of like if you were a Fed trying to, do this. This is a kind of Fed stalking murder stuff you would do. This would make sense. Break into their car a couple times and then. All right, Kelly explained a tragic accident, but we haven't heard much else, she added. I hope whoever took his life is caught and brought to justice. My father and I are devastated, to say the least. White's death was first reported on Monday afternoon when far-right radio host Alex Jones announced it on his broadcast. He's not even really far-right, saying that his best reporter had been brutally murdered. Jones accused Austin's Democratic district attorney and other Democrats across the country of aiding and abetting in White's death by failing to control crime, calling them demons. All right, so this is the guy, Jamie White. All right. The Austin Police Department said in a statement Tuesday that officers responded to the call of a shooting at the Chandelier's apartment located at 2336 Douglas Street. When police arrived, they found White lying on the ground in the parking lot of the apartment complex where he lived with obvious signs of trauma to his body. He was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead at 12:19 a.m. on Monday, APD said. The initial investigation shows that White was shot and killed in the parking lot of the apartment complex in which he lived, the statement read. The suspects then fled the scene. Detectives believe the suspects were possibly burglarizing White's vehicle when he interrupted them. It's unclear how long White, 36, had worked for InfoWars. He was a graduate of Ohio University. I come to the InfoWars family of viewers and listeners into the world with some really horrible news, Jones said in a post on X. Yeah, I would be curious, how many reporters or whatever that fill this role does he have? To what level of prominence is this guy? I don't recall ever seeing this guy or hearing about this guy. Not that I really watch InfoWars, but I know, you got Chase Geiser we just talked about. We got, I don't know, I can't think of the names of any of the other people, but if I saw their names, I know them and I know their faces. So I'd assume this guy is at least not as prominent as any of those guys, at least the main people. I've never heard of him. So So I don't know. I mean, I guess it really is like, do they have like 100 plus, minor reporters that are just kind of like stringers that get little details and collate and, kind of put them together for them to cover, and call them their reporters, even though they're just kind of like, putting together information for their, presenters. I don't know. All right. We sent some people in the morning when he didn't answer the phone because he was always there early. He loves to work, loves to fight tyranny, loves to promote freedom. And when they got to the apartment complex, there was yellow tape everywhere and blood all over the parking lot, Jones recounted. They also do actually publish articles there too. So I wonder if he was like a regular publisher was like regularly publishing content over there or something. I don't know. I'm kind of more like pausing this to you, the audience. I'm sure maybe some of you guys might know. Jones praised the police for their quick response and said InfoWars staff had been sent home to grieve. I lay all this square at the feet of these DAs and the Soros crime syndicate and of the Democratic Party, Jones said. Austin District Attorney Garza was elected in 2020 with backing from a super PAC funded by Hungarian-American billionaire George Soros, who is both a prolific donor to progressive causes and a regular fixation of anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists. Since then, he's been criticized by InfoWars and targeted by conservative mega-billionaire Elon Musk, who reportedly channeled dark money into an unsuccessful effort to unseat him. Okay, that's the end of the article. Okay, well, it looks like we don't really know shit. I'm going to go over the chat now, and I think after we go through the chat, I'm rolling out of here. So any final thoughts? Now's the time for you guys to dump them in the chat. But yeah, let's see. Well, yeah, I'm kind of curious if you guys have any other meaningful information out there. Jack says Massey became sus to me after his wife's murder and the story just disappeared. Although, is he really sus? What has he done other than still continue to be awesome? So, all right, Tanya Yiki. What? You're saying Tanya Yiki's also conducting kayfabe? I don't believe that. I do not believe she is kayfabing at all, which is what was the whole point of what I brought that up to get into, which we'll get into tomorrow, because I wanted to go into the I wanted to why am I such a brain fart? I wanted to read the Hoffman article, and then I wanted to really focus in on kind of the corroborating elements on the claims she makes there, particularly the harassment, because that's the part I've always found particularly gross. The harassment was pretty excessive, and there are multiple people that attest to it. So, I mean, obviously, sure, Tanya could have made it up. She could have got, other individuals to also corroborate her making up stuff. But just, you get to a certain point, you're like, I don't know. This seems, we're corroborating evidence, information. You're like, sure, theoretically, it's possible it's all made up, but you get to a point where it's a little much. So, but we'll probably cover that tomorrow. I do still want to kind of go over that. I want to rehash, go back to my roots. So they've been trying to ruin Alex Jones' lives for years now. It's not surprising at all there are plots to kill him. That's another thing too. It's also like with Alex Jones, it literally could go either way. I could like totally believe there are people trying to kill him, and I also could totally believe this is all just kayfabe on his side. So I don't know. So someone's saying can't stand Tim Pool, but I highly doubt he's swatting himself. I kind of doubt it too, to be honest. I don't really see that. That seems like a, yeah. So let's see. Trying to keep going. A Texan who worked for InfoWars that wasn't armed, sus as fucked. Feel like the feds, when they're doing things, would have tempered with the vehicle. Exactly. What he was investigating would be the question. That too. That's another question I have. Like, what was the most recent piece he was working on? So I'm not yeah. Did Jamie White murder himself for views, or did Alex Jones do it? Obviously, I'm not saying that he got murdered for views. What I was implying, if you're jumping on what I was getting at earlier, the idea that like this could have been a freak accident. This could have been a complete freak accident. This guy did get attacked by some vagrant trying to break into his car or house, whatever. And then it's the idea would be that then maybe they then exploited it. I mean, I'm not saying that's the case. I mean. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying they false flag. They killed one of their own guys. That seems a bit excessive. Although I don't know. You never know in this crazy world. But I definitely lean not that way. So let me see. What was he doing with anti-Semitism conspiracy? Which way does that lean? All right, here's my 2 cents. It all just seems fake and gay, and it seems to be getting faker and gayer. I'm low in tolerance for the constant information war. Yeah, right. What an apt term for Jones' show, InfoWars. So yeah, that's what this feels like. This feels like InfoWars. This feels like theater. I mean, I get it. A guy died, so you're like, holy shit. But it is like, I don't know. It's not that crazy that they go, oh shit. All right, cool. One of our guys died. Roll out this plan. We can exploit this. You know, why let a good what's the word I'm looking for? Something go to waste. A good crisis go to waste. It's kind of like that. I mean, you could even sell it as like, hey, if he was here, he'd want us to do it because he'd want us to, he wants InfoWars to succeed and blah 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 blah. Once again, not saying that's the case. It's just this is the kind of place that like this is the kind of place that they would totally. Like, I get the vibe they would totally do that. So, hermetic for duality for show, but respect the Kenosha kid over the poor child star activist. What if they were planting something in the car for future purposes? Yeah, they could have for sure. 2 Zionists, 1 Cup says, Jose, shatter the swarm diagram. Use it for your presentations. Maybe. I don't even know what that is. So, last thing, Rise to Liberty. Also, if you're wanting to get back to your podcasting roots, let's get you rescheduled for a show and my show, and we'll cover some OKC. Yeah, sure. Which, speaking of which, we actually have on tonight. We have Jacob coming back on the show again tonight. To continue our false memory syndrome series. So yeah, I can come back on for OKC. We'll have to set that up. But with that, guys, yeah, I think we're basically at the end of it all. Making sure there's no Rumble rants. There isn't. Do want to remind you guys, you guys can leave me money over on Rumble rants. That's something you guys can do. I do appreciate it when you guys do that. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and get out of here. I don't really have enough time to go into a full-on Hoffman article. I'm not trying to make this an over 2-hour episode. But I do want to let you guys know that if you do want to support the show, you can go to one way you can do that without having to chip in any money is you can like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Those sort of things go a long ways. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. You can contribute to the show, tag me and stuff that you're like, yo, this would be good on the show. Those sort of things. So, like, I mean, you can literally become part of the show that way. But if you are able to support the show monetarily, obviously you guys saw my sponsor earlier. That's one way you can do that with money. But if you want to directly give it to me, cash is king, baby. I'm definitely not turning you away. Patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That's where you get early access to the normal No Way Jose topic driven episodes I do every week. I'm shooting for 1 to 2 a week these days. I'm going to start trying to put out 2 to the public and have probably like 4 or so behind the paywall at any given time. Like I just mentioned, going to be doing false memory syndrome tonight. So that'll be behind the paywall for about a week. This will be, come tonight. There'll be 3 of them behind the paywall. 3 false memory syndrome episodes behind the paywall. So you can just splurge all of those if you want. Or you wait 3 weeks for them to all come out, likely, or however long it takes. But you also get an ad-free RSS feed at the $2 level, and then also the $2 level you can get the Talking Head feature on Already Dead with me and Austin. That's where you can come in for the second half of the show for the call-in portion, and you can do a video call-in, and you can be a talking head alongside me, Austin, and Jules, and you can shoot the shit with us, ask questions, whatever. You can just hang out for the most part. But yeah, that's patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. But the highest level, that's my sponsors. I read them off every episode. My co-host on Tarragang at TarragangToad, also at AbrogateDs, at ZOVERACK, _InfantZeal, Tim Tuttle at Jolly on Klebold, then Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, then Big Fan of the Show, Torn May, and then at INWARD Lover. And with that, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. Let's see. Let's just roll the chat real quick first. So get the last minute things. So everyone's saying bye Eddie, bye Bobo, bye Zionist, bye JC. Get a Bitcoin address. Maybe one of these days when I figure out Bitcoin. JC saying bye Arcane, bye JMS, saying InfoWars is a good name. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hell yeah, baby. All right, crush it again. Jose said JMS. Thank you. All right, let's get out of here. Deuces. Oh, not nice guy saying bye. Bye. All right, we're out of here. Deuces.